Good morning, beloveds. I'm running a little late. We went to the park and we had the two loops done by 8:30, but I really wasn't ready to go. So I was like, can we walk? There's kind of a shorter loop. So we walked the shorter loop. And the first two loops, we didn't see a whole lot of squirrels. And then the second loop, they were all out going, oh, you have peanuts. So, yeah, then because we saw squirrels, we're running a little late, but it's all good. I get it done, and that's the beauty of Saturdays, is I get to go to the park. So all those times that I encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, it's because I do. All right, it is March 6th. Our title is Living Today. It is not the particular negative experiences that we have gone through in the past that destroy our happiness, but rather our emotional reaction to those experiences carried in the reservoir of memory. Many people suffer complete defeat without having really been defeated. Others succumb the first time anything goes wrong. It is one of the aims of psychosomatic medicine, analytical psychology, and psychiatry to drain out the negative and emotional reactions to previous experiences. There is just as real an infection of the mind as there is in any part of our physical body. Almost invariably, our negative reaction to life, our unhappiness, and perhaps most of our physical disorders are based on unhappy experiences that are buried, but buried alive, in our memory. But yesterday can have no reality to us other than as our reaction to it. It can have no real existence of its own in today other than as the lengthened shadows of yesterday. And so it is that as impulsions of yesterday are carried over into today, making today happy or disconsolate, so that the reactions of today are prophetic of what we will experience tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet arrived, and I live in an eternal present filled with an everlasting good. There is nothing unhappy or morbid in my consciousness. I have no fear of yesterday, nor do I anticipate tomorrow with anything other than enthusiastic expectation. Everything good in my experience will create my future. I have no fear in looking backward or forward, but realize the eternal day in which I now live. Today is big with hope fulfilled, with love and life well lived. Tomorrow will provide its own blessing. And the Bible quote is, "Be renewed in the spirit of your mind." And that is from Ephesians 4:23. Good morning, Susan. Okay. There actually is, and I forget the name of it. When I was in ministerial school, we took a wide range of classes, including a number of psychology classes, because ministers are counselors of a sort. There's probably some legal ramifications about the way we say that, and I think that's one of the reasons why practitioners have changed to spiritual coaches, and if they do use the word counselor, they always say spiritual counselor. It's like, nope, we don't have medical licenses. We have spiritual licenses. But we did. And there actually is and I cannot remember the name of it, but it is a therapy where you hold on to some kind of electronic something or another, and you literally relive a negative experience. Because the idea behind this therapy, it's EMD something. The idea behind it is that the memory of the experience is stored in your body, and your body doesn't realize that you've lived through it. And so what the therapy says, yes, Thank you, Susan. EMDR. And it helps the body move through that negative experience so it's not stored in your body anymore. So that your body and your mind recognize not only did you survive, but you have thrived. And from what I've read about it and what they taught in the class, it's a very effective form of therapy. So if you've got something that is still stored in your body, and it is remarkable because Reverend David, from the center, he does emotional, his is tapping. But one day he asked me a question. He said, where is that emotion? Like, where do you feel that emotion in your body? And that may be a way to look at it is, when you're feeling an emotion, where do you feel it in your body? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your hands? Because whatever he asked me, I said, no, I feel it out here. And he went, well, that's very healthy. And I went, good. I've done a whole lot of work. I'm glad to know that me feeling it, not in my body. So it's like, where is that located? Not in my body anymore. Thank goodness. So living today. And I'm struck by how, on point this is today, living today. It's not a particular negative experience that we have gone through in the past that destroys our happiness, but our emotional reaction to those experiences carried in the reservoir of the memory. Every time we relive it. If we continue to have those experiences, if we continue to feel it the way we felt it the first time, it hasn't healed. We're ripping the wound open and it's still bleeding. It hasn't scarred over. And that's one of the things that they told us in ministerial school. We can talk about our negative experiences, the experiences that we've had in the past that we would prefer not to have again. Our non-preferred experience is one way to say it. But we have to make sure that we're talking from our scars, not our wounds. Because if we're talking from our scars, then it's at a distance, it's healed over. But if we're talking from our wounds, we're bleeding all over people. And that is not helpful to anybody, including the person who's doing the talking. Many people suffer complete defeat without having ever really been defeated. And that was one of the things that the meme pops up occasionally. And what it is a master has failed more times than a beginner has even started. It's like, do you know how many times I have failed at what I'm doing? I was a musician. And how many times did I play it wrong until I got it right? But once I got it right, that wiped away all the memory of all the times that I got it wrong. I was able to let it go. Once I got it, and I kept practicing. Others succumb the first time anything goes wrong. So the question is are you willing? It's not how many times you fall. It's how many times you pick yourself back up and keep going. But let me say this. There are times when you fall. There are times when you fail. That it's okay to let it go. It's like, okay, clearly this is not for me. And you move on. And that's okay. As long as you're willing to let it go and not beat yourself up that you didn't, master it. I can be a little bit that way. It's like, well, I'm good at everything. I'm not good at everything. Don't let me kid you. But I'm good at everything. I should be able to do this. And if I can't do it perfectly, I'm not going to do it at all. That doesn't help. It can get in the way of me trying new things. And then there are some things that I'm never going to be good at, but I'm going to do them anyway. Like, I don't run fast. I will never run fast. But I run because I enjoy it. Will I ever be good at? No. There are these 3 people that run in the park, and they run marathons, and they'll lap me 2 or 3 times. But for me, the pleasure is seeing them And it's not comparing myself to them. It's like, I'll never be as fast as they are. I will never run the distances that they run. But I enjoy seeing them enjoy that. And I enjoy my little turtle pace. So, many people suffer complete defeat without having ever really been defeated. Others succumb the first time anything goes wrong. It is one of the aims of, I'm not sure what psychosomatic medicine is. It's probably changed its name. It might be worth Googling. Analytical psychology and psychiatry to drain out the negative and emotional reaction to previous experiences, which comes back to that EMDR. That's one of the ways that they do it. That's one of the goals of therapy. It's to drain off the negative reactions to the memories. You may not ever be able to get rid of the memory. You may, but if you can siphon off the negative energy that hurts every time you have it, then you'll heal. That's the goal. There's just a real infection of the mind as there is in any part of the physical body. And when we can get that through society's head, we can take a lot of the stigma off of mental illness. Like, this is an organ too, people. And when it is not functioning at peak efficiency, when it is ill, then we need to be able to do something about it, including taking the medication. Because I did for 2 years. And if I hadn't, I probably wouldn't be here. So I talk about it. Almost invariably, our negative reactions to life, our unhappiness, and perhaps most of our physical disorders are based on unhappy experiences that are buried alive. Meaning that they sneak up on us at the most inopportune times, which is why we want to drain off that negative reaction to it, that negative energy to it in our memory. But yesterday can have no reality to us other than our reaction to it. It can have no real existence of its own in today other than the lengthened shadows of yesterday. And so it is that as the impulsions of yesterday are carried over into today, making today happier or disconsolate, so the reactions of today are prophetic of what we will experience tomorrow. Okay, so let's talk about that for just a minute. We talk about forgive and forget. That's not what we're talking about here. What we are talking about is draining off the negative reaction so that when we have the memory, we don't have all of that negative energy flooding back in us. We don't want to forget the lessons that we have learned because negative experiences definitely carry lessons. We don't want to forget the lessons, but we want to drain off the ickiness of the feeling of the experience. That's what casts the lengthened shadows. It's like we want to learn from our past. We want to learn from our mistakes. We want to learn from our past. We just don't want the emotions to continue to overshadow what is happening today. And there are a variety of ways to do it, a wide variety of ways to do it. So, as Ernest says, yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not arrived, and I live in eternal present, filled with an everlasting good. And that is about focusing on. Where your attention is where your energy goes. So, we want to focus on the good. We want to focus on the present. They even say that depression is focused on the past and anxiety is focused on the future. Which means in either case, you're not living now. And speaking from experience, yeah. And it is really about letting go of I'm going to use the word icky feelings. I'm just going to use the word icky feelings today. Non-preferred experiences, non-preferred feelings. It really is about letting go of the ickiness. Okay. There is nothing unhappy or morbid in my consciousness. Power statement. Is it true? At the moment, yes. But even if it's not true, I'm going to act like it is until it is. There is nothing unhappy or morbid in my consciousness because my consciousness is filled with the good of the present. And if it's not filled with the good of the present, it's filled with the good of spirit. It's filled with the good of the promise of the place that is nothing has ever been wrong. It's filled with the good of that place where I meet the unfiltered God, the unfiltered spirit that's not filtered by my mortal experiences, by my material experiences, as Shakespeare likes to say, the mortal coil. I have no fear of yesterday because I have let that stuff go. Nor do I anticipate tomorrow with anything other than enthusiastic expectation. What's the last thing that you think about before you go to bed? And what's the first thing that you think about when you wake up? If you didn't catch Reverend Arthur and his talk about putting feet under your treatment, that was one of the things that he said. One of the great ways to check where your head is what's the last thing that you think about when you go to sleep? Is it positive? Is it negative? Are you laying there rehashing the negative parts of your day? Are you laying there thinking about the good parts of your day? Are you thinking about the stuff that you got to do tomorrow that you don't want to? Are you thinking about the stuff that you get to do tomorrow that you're excited about? What are you thinking about when you go to sleep? And then what's the first thought in your head when you wake up? Oh God, I don't want to do this again. That's going to set you up for the word of the day is icky. That can set you up for an icky day. Or you wake up and you think, it's Saturday. I get to go to the park. Yay. And it can set you up for an amazing day. So what's the last thing you think about before you go to sleep? First thing you think about when you go to bed? And what can you do to change that? And it really does come down to deliberate. Like, write down a good thought before you go to bed. And repeat that to yourself as you're falling asleep. And then hopefully that'll be the first thing you think about when you wake up. Everything good in my experience will create my future. I have no fear looking backward or forward because I have healed my wounds. I have let scar tissue build up. I am not talking from my wounds. I am talking, if I'm going to talk about my past, if I'm going to talk about those negative experiences, I'm going to talk about them from, sorry, just got myself off track. I can look back at my past experiences, my non-preferred past experiences, and feel nothing. Not regret, not icky, not fear, they're there. And I have learned from them. But I can look, that's the goal. Am I 100% on that? No. I'm human. But that's the goal. And then I look back, then I can look forward at what's coming with excitement, with anticipation, knowing that I'm carrying that energy of the place that nothing's ever been wrong. I'm carrying that energy into my future. Not the ickiness that I've had in the past. I'm not going to carry that forward. I have no fear of looking backward or forward, but realizing the eternal day in which I live, and now I live. Today is big with hope fulfilled, with love and life well lived. Tomorrow will provide its own blessings. Right there, Ernest says, tomorrow will take care of itself. We don't have to worry about it. We do get to plan for it, but we don't have to worry about it. It's like, make the plans that you need. Make the plans that you want to. But tomorrow will provide its own blessings. Don't worry about tomorrow. Plan for it, but don't worry about it. And I like that the Bible quote is, be renewed in the spirit of your mind, from Ephesians, because that's what spiritual practice is. That's what meditation is for. That's what prayer is for. That's where we go within. We go to that place where we meet God, that place that nothing has ever been wrong. that place of bliss. We go there, we fill up, and we bring it back. That's how we renew our spirit. All right? So our mission today, should we choose to accept it? It's about living today. It is. It is about living today. So it is about, okay, our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to live in an eternal present filled with the everlasting good. And that sounds like a tall order, right? It does. And I know that. But I'm telling you that the energy to do that comes from an inexhaustible source. And it comes from a source that wants you to be happy. It comes from a well that has no bottom. And it comes from a bank manager that always says yes. When we have preferred experiences, we want to bank those. And when we have non-preferred experiences, we want to drain that energy off so that we can look back and go, this is the lesson that I learned. And now I move forward. So, living in the present in the everlasting good. And it's going to be a beautiful day today. When I was watching the weather last night here, it said it's going to struggle to get, it might not even get into the 70s, but it's so pretty. The sun is out, the birds are out, the birds are singing. So I encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. I do encourage you to get out and get a little sunlight on your face. First thing in the morning, that 5-10 minutes of sun right there on your face helps. There's science behind this. You can look it up. It will help to reset your hormones, and it will improve your energy through the day and your ability to go to sleep at night. So then you can have, when you don't have too much time to lay there and think at night, what's your last thought before you go to sleep? So yes, but please remember that you are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. And in the knowing of that, do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Whatever it looks like for you today. If it's going out and going for a walk, or if it's resting. I'm a big believer in resting. I am. So, if it's making a phone call or declining to take a phone call, that's okay too. Whatever it takes to be loving, kind, and compassionate for yourself. The more you practice it on yourself, the more you will have to share. That's my philosophy. And remember to open the windows of your soul and allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven now. It is up to us to bring it to the forefront of our consciousness, to see the good around us, because it's there. And when we start looking for it, we start finding it. When we start finding it, we start seeing more of it. And that's the way our brain works. All right? So, do what you need to do to make it a wonderful day. And drink some extra water. All right? With the heat running, because it's still cool in the mornings, we're a little extra dry. A little extra water. Hydrate. It's good for the skin. All right? Well, it's Saturday. Okay, so that means that on the Facebook page, Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. And then we will have an amazing service. I forget what the theme of March is, but I know that Jesse posted it to the page, so you can take a look at the titles of what he's going to talk about this month. So then we'll see you at 11 a.m. for the service. Right here on Facebook Live. And don't worry, once we do open up, which we're not yet, but once we do open back up, we are going to continue the online service. So it's all good. All right. And if you are enjoying any of these talks and want to see them again, do know that I am archiving them on the Running Rev Ryan YouTube channel, not the Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel. I want to keep that for the services. So, and if you watch Reverend David, hassle him to move his to his YouTube channel for the same reason. If you want to re-see him. All right, beloveds, do what you need to do to make it a fantastic day. Know that you are loved.